Hello, welcome back to Brand Strategy Life. In this episode, I want to give you an interesting problem. Basically, I have this panorama image that's quite big, and I took this using my iPhone, right? It's 60 something megapixels, and I just need to slice this into 4 or 5 different image so I can upload it into threads, and then it's become like a carousel. Okay, so this is one example. And if you go full screen with threads, you can actually have like a nicely panned panorama. So it's kind of interesting that way. So I'm wondering how to do this without using an app or anything. If you search around, very likely they're gonna tell you to use an app, and the app might cost you like $7 or in this case like $15 US. Yeah, it's gonna be kind of weird because I know the fact that we can just do this for free, right? Like, there's might be like an easier way. So I actually asked OpenAI, right? With OpenAI, I actually asked first Blender Python to split a panorama image into 5 smaller image, and indeed, the AI give me like Blender Python, and it's actually so first this is the Python, and it tells us to where we're gonna have the output folder when Blender is rendering the panorama, to split the image into 5 different parts, and it's kind of do the stuff. It actually create a material and assign it into like a cube, and then there's a camera being created, and then the camera will actually pan and animate, and it's gonna split it into 5, which is interesting, and in theory this should work. But when I run this, Blender kind of crash, and then I have like 250 blank image. But I like the idea, right? So we need basically Blender, and we just need to cut it into different parts. Earlier today, I actually make a video already, and then unfortunately it stopped at around 10 minutes, so I don't want to repeat the same mistake. So I just record this again. So what's happening here, I import an image into Blender as a plane, and then I quickly set up a camera and put it on, put the camera in position and go inside the camera, and then I just need to adjust the resolution. So once we get the resolutions, we can actually just scale and then animate the image. The camera stay, animate the image, keyframe the first and the last position of the image, and then set the timeline into 5 frames, and then just render it out, and we get the result. So which is I thought this kind of interesting, so I just need to record this for you. Another way to do it is to use file, video editing, and we can do the same thing. Video editing in Blender is like VSE. You can, of course, do the same thing using Photoshop, After Effects, whatever tools that you can do or you have access to. File, import, in this case, really, for image strip, we just need Shift-A and then import image sequence, or Shift-A. In this case, we just need to import an image, not an image sequence. Desktop. Get our panorama. This is our panorama. For our image, what's the size gonna be? Let's say 512/768. Okay, so we have this panorama image over here. We need to scale it to fit it. So maybe in this case it's not exactly gonna be 5, but we know we're gonna need to pan it. We need to pan this image. So I just gonna keyframe position the position over here, and I'm gonna go 5, or let's make it 7 maybe. So it's gonna be 7 frame, and I'm gonna I'm gonna slide this like that. Keyframe. So we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we end up with 8. So that's basically the idea here. We have these composition areas, and we are slicing it. Now if I want to make sure the image is not accelerating or something like that, I just go to graph editor and check our translations. Here we have accelerations and stuff, so key interpolation set to linear. Now this should work. So we have a camera or something, we have a canvas size, and we have this image that's slowly moving around like a carousel. I like this idea anyway. You can actually have as many images as possible. If you upload it into threads, it's gonna be like these long panning things. So all you need to do is just to render this out as a PNG image, right? So that's the second way to do it. But with OpenAI, actually you can ask the AI if I want to use the normal Python, need to slice it into 5 images. So apparently there's a pill module, and we can create a functions using Python. You don't need to understand everything, but it's gonna slice the image into 5 different images, and this is your running the function. So I copy the code, paste it here, right? We want to split the panorama into 5 or 7. Let's do that. Desktop. We have our image. Right click, copy as path name, and paste it here. Right, you just need to run this, and I just need to run it using terminal, or in this case I'm using warp. Slice me split image, run. Just run this. It's gonna do the processing in the background. Where's the output's gonna be? It's actually on the desktop. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. So it's cool. It's cool that it's doing it for us. And if you want to change this into 7 or 8 slices, you can do it. You can change it here and then run it again. So yeah, knowing that is interesting, because otherwise you have to pay for an app. The app might do it for you, might not exactly what you want. But that's very interesting. And in fact, if you want to do it as well, if you want to use this idea to make a comics, like a comics panel with like a really, really long one, you can do the same thing using grease pencil. Let's say this is the setup of the canvas, and I'm just gonna make this 512 by 768. So I can have like a comic books that's really long, and I can upload it into threads, because that's my one way I could publish my ideas, right? It's become really interesting actually nowadays. If you think about publishing your digital contents, and there are many ways to do this. Of course, you can originally you publish by printing out. Okay, I'm actually drawing a snake and I just keep on talking. In the past, we are using like a printing press, and you want to publish a book about comic books. Nowadays you don't need to do that. You can just publish it online, right? You can publish it into Twitter or Threads, Twitter X or Threads, whatever, or you can publish it as a digital art, as a 3D in a metaverse. I don't know, maybe like Roblox stuff. I didn't keep up with all of those, but for now, let's say I want to publish my comics into Threads, right? Thread is cool because Threads can make a panel for us. So I'm drawing this like a comic books, right? About these giant snakes, and there's this people on top of it. So it's like I found this could be like a feature of storytelling. It should be animated, some sort. But this is more like a classic comics, and I want to publish it into Threads, and I want to slice this into 6 different images, right? I'm drawing this big panel of grease pencil, and the panel can be really huge because it's unlimited inside Blender. And anyhow, in order for me to render this out as a panel inside Carousel, inside threads, so I need to render this into multiple parts. So that's why I draw this using grease pencil first, and then I need to animate this, right? This is grease pencil objects. The cool things, you can always come back to the grease pencil. Let's come back to frame 1. Just gonna keep drawing. So I'm drawing inside these objects, grease pencil objects. Once I'm done, I'm back to the object mode. And our camera is gonna be this small panel. Our comics is gonna be this guy over here. And I want to render this out. So this snake thing, I will upload it to my thread, so it's gonna make sense then. And I just need to animate this into seven different panels, or maybe I just make it 8. Let's make it 7. Select these objects. I know I need to keyframe the locations of these objects. I need to keyframe it on frame 1. We cannot see the keyframe because this is the grease pencil keyframe in Blender. We need to actually open up the one at the bottom here. Sorry. So at the bottom we have 2 keyframes. The second one should go like that. Keyframe. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's gonna be our panel that's gonna be rendered for threads. So the output's gonna be TMP and PNG render animations. It's rendering our animations, and if I upload this into threads, we're gonna have exactly what we want. This is our temp image. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, it's not bad. Stop. Rename comic. It's gonna be my rough comic panel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And just for you, I'm going to upload this into threads. So I upload a lot of stuff on threads and Twitter X, and I think it's really powerful. You can upload whatever kind of artwork, but just experiment with things. The idea is to make contents, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. BS comics, Blender Sushi comics, grease pencil. Just gonna post it anyway. So it didn't really slice it into 7 different parts. If you are using Python, then it's probably gonna work. But yeah, let's see. I upload it. So it's kind of working. It's not slicing exactly, but if you slice it correctly, it's gonna create a proper carousel. So probably the best way is to use the Python things, the Python method in this case. So we just need to render the snake as a full panorama and then slice it using Python, okay? And that's the open source way to do it. It's gonna be free. We don't need an app to do that. So hopefully you find this useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.